Accelgor in Generation 7 has received a buff that makes it more powerful in VGC. Thanks to the introduction of Tapu Pokemon summoning terrains and the new item Seeds, which can be consumed immediately when the terrain is up, and activate Accelgor's ability Unburden, which doubles Accelgor's speed when an item is consumed. This allows Accelgor, which is already one of the fastest Pokemon with a high base speed stat of 145, to double, and can allow Accelgor to outspeed and move before any Pokemon holding a Choice Scarf and other Unburdened Pokemon. In this video, I'll be covering the team I used to get 3rd place at the Roanoke Regional Championship, including the reasoning why I decided to use Accelgor in the first place. The team idea originated before VGC 2018 had officially begun. Back in Pokemon Sun and Moon's Doubles Battle Spot days, I had the idea of using a core of Accelgor, Tapu Lele, and Charizard Y. While I didn't get to build and test much with the core around the time, I thought it would be a strong core to look back into, and I thought about using it on back-to-back battles in the future. 4 hours after winning Toronto Regionals, I considered going to Roanoke Regionals for fun, but I didn't want to use Como again because it had just won 2 American Regionals in a row, with Matthew Greaves in Utah and myself in Toronto. I especially didn't want to play the mirror if I went, even if I was just going for fun. I decided to open up my team builder on Showdown when I spotted the core. I thought it would be very strong in the current meta, with the 2 most popular Mega Evolutions being Gengar and Metagross, which didn't appreciate Charizard, while Accelgor and Tapu Lele had a very positive matchup against a lot of combinations, like Rain and Como for instance. Thus, I decided to take the core that I had and finish the team. The team building process was very short. With the core of Accelgor, Tapu Lele, and Charizard, I needed to fix the Incineroar matchup, as Incineroar was a big problem to this team. I decided to add Landis because of its great synergy with Charizard Y. The ability to hit Incineroar was extremely useful, and other bulky fire types such as Heatran, which could give the core some problems. For the last 2 Pokemon, I wasn't really too sure, but the matchups I thought that could be hard were things that Accelgor plus either Charizard or Tapu Lele couldn't exactly handle, such as Trick Room for instance, where Trick Room could be problematic, especially if they had a fake out user like Incineroar next to a Pokemon like Cresselia, which could tank most of the attacks that Tapu Lele can drop with a -2 from the Acid Spray, as well as a final Gambit and proc a Berry, as well as I couldn't lead Accelgor Charizard if they had Incineroar for instance, where they could just fake out in Trick Room, which could give me some problems. In order to counter this, I thought Mimikyu Snorlax could be a pretty good fit, as it was just going to be able to add another mode to this team, a nice Trick Room mode, which could be useful against other hyper offensive teams, and just really good against certain combinations like Rain for instance, where it was pretty powerful, and it would be a mode my opponent would have to fear, where I could go this fast mode of Accelgor plus Charizard or Lele, or I could go Mimikyu and Snorlax. There's also some hidden synergy that I could use with the combinations, such as Accelgor and Mimikyu, and Landisfarian helping with the Snorlax Mimikyu mode, which I'll get into detail later. But that was basically how I decided on the 6 Pokemon I would eventually use. So the first Pokemon we'll look at is Accelgor with the item Psychic Seed, the ability Unburden, and the moveset of Encore, Final Gambit, Acid Spray, and Protect. Encore is a nice move to have because of the fact that it allows me to lock in opponents that are using moves such as Protect or Belly Drum, which forces the opponent to either switch out or allows me to Encore them and make that slot a slot that I do not have to worry about. Final Gambit is a nice pressure tool because of the fact that I can trade Accelgor for a Pokemon that threatens one of my modes in the back, such as the Charizard or the Snorlax. With a 1v1 trade, I can knock out Pokemon such as Tapu Koko, non-bulky Landisfarian, etc., which gave me a pretty good advantage, especially since Accelgor does have a high enough HP stat that allows me to knock out every single Tapu Pokemon. Acid Spray is a great move to have on Accelgor because of the fact that it is an attacking move, so it does break through Disguise as well as Focus Ashes and Sturdy, which lowers the opponent's special defense stage by 2 stages, which allows either Tapu Lele or Charizard Y to either get a ton of damage off or even a big knockout, which is extremely nice to have on a fast team that my team is running. And Protect just to stall out a few turns, and it's a basic staple. So the EV spread that I used was 252 HP, 36 defense, 4 special attack, 4 special defense, and 212 speed. The max HP in order to capitalize off the final Gambit numbers The 212 speed investment allowed me to outspeed my own Scarf Tapu Lele even without the Unburdened boost if I needed to switch out Accelgor if I didn't have terrain control at the time, and just a leftover in defense because I didn't really need it in special attack and I already was getting a boost from the Psychic Seed into special defense, and it really didn't change any calcs in my eyes. The next Pokemon we'll look at is Tapu Lele with holding the Choice Scarf and Psychic Surge as its ability with the moves Psychic, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, and Shadow Ball. Pretty standard Scarf Tapu Lele moveset. The EV spread that I have is 44 HP, 12 defense, max special attack, 4 special defense, and 196 speed. The speed investment allows me to outspeed Scarf Tapu Bulu by 1 point, as well as max special attack to capitalize off the huge special attack that Tapu Lele has, as well as to do as much damage as possible with the Acid Spray combination from Accelgor, and just a little bit extra in bulk. The next Pokemon we'll look at is Charizard Y with the Mega Stone and the ability Blaze, and Drought when it Mega Evolves with the moveset of Heat Wave, Solar Beam, Overheat, and Protect. Heat Wave just over Flamethrower because Heat Wave created a lot of pressure because I didn't have to worry about catching switches and could just focus on doing a lot of damage, while Acid Spray and Heat Wave can pick up a knockout on one side and Heat Wave can leave the opponent chipped for another combination later. Solar Beam was to hit Pokemon such as Tapu Fini and Gastrodon, especially since Acid Spray and the Solar Beam can knock out Tapu Fini, which I found extremely useful. And Overheat was just such a powerful move that even without the Acid Spray combination can just pick up knockouts by itself, which is extremely useful on a team that can be hyper offensive and aggressive, while just having Protect in order to scout, stall out Trick Room, etc. The EV spread is very simple, just going full on offense with 4 HP, max special attack, and max speed with a timid nature. I just wanted Charizard to outspeed a lot of threats such as Kangaskhan, which tends to run Adamant Nature. They don't tend to run Jolly Nature anymore, so I would outspeed almost every Kangaskhan that I would play, as well as Mimikyu and Timid Tapu Lele that are not holding a Choice Scarf, and Jolly Landers, which I felt were pretty important for Charizard to outspeed in order for me to get the Acid Spray into the Heat Wave or Overheat combinations off. So the next Pokemon we'll look over is Landis-Farian with the Groundium Z and Intimidate for its ability. The moveset is Earthquake, Rock Tomb, U-Turn, and Protect. Earthquake is a pretty standard move. Rock Tomb over Rock Slide because I felt like since I wasn't running a slow Landers, it wasn't really worth running Rock Slide because I'm not going to go for flinches, and Rock Tomb provides some speed control which could be useful in order to help out Charizard, for instance. U-turn was great for just momentum swings because of the fact that I could U-turn out, especially in the Mimikyu Snorlax mode. I could always just U-turn out, scout what my opponent's going to bring out. I could also reset the weather with Charizard if I am playing a Weather War, so I thought U-turn was going to be the move of choice that I could use. And Protect is a pretty staple move to have. The EV spread was created by Eduardo Cunha. It's a bulky Landis variant because I felt bulky Landis would be more useful on this team, especially because I'd be switching into Incineroar, for instance, so I wanted to take Flare Blitzes, especially in Sun, decently well. So we have 228 HP, 12 attack, 68 defense, 20 special defense, and 180 speed with an Adamant Nature. The speed allows me to outspeed Tapu Koko after a Rock Tomb, which is pretty important. The HP and defense allows me to survive a -1 Ice Punch from Jolly Mega Metagross most of the time, and the leftovers were put in special defense and attack. The next Pokemon is Mimikyu with the Ghostium Z and Disguise for its ability with the moveset of Shadow Claw, Taunt, Dusty Bond, and Trick Room. Pretty much your standard Mimikyu. I felt like this was probably going to be the best Mimikyu that I could have, with the simple EV spread of 4 HP, max physical attack, and max speed with a Jolly Nature. The reason I wanted to go fast Mimikyu is because I thought that at the time Z Destiny Bond Mimikyu was probably the most popular one, so I decided Z Destiny Bond was probably a good fit to this team since I'm pretty comfortable with it back from 2017 when I used it. And the fact is I wanted Jolly in order to get the Z Destiny Bond trick off, because I could Z Destiny Bond against fast threats that were slower than Mimikyu and pressure those Pokemon, and then I could get Trick Room up. I did not need this Mimikyu to do well in Trick Room, I just needed to set up Trick Room, and I don't need the bulk because sometimes taking the Z Destiny Bond trade is worth it, or if they're too scared to attack Mimikyu, I can get the Trick Room off anyway. And I wanted Jolly Nature in order to outspeed opposing Timid Tapu Leles because I felt that would be useful. The final Pokemon on this team was Snorlax with the Figgy Berry and the ability Gluttony with the moveset of Return, Belly Drum, Recycle, and Protect. Very standard Snorlax, as we got 148 HP, 244 physical defense, and 116 special defense with a careful nature. The HP stat gives Snorlax an even HP stat, which allows Snorlax to heal back with its berry after a belly drum, and the fact is it is a number that is 16x minus 2, where it's important for the belly drum in order to reduce the number of hail or sand damage that I might be taking, as well as the fact that I need it to be an even HP number. The special defense allows it to live 3 Torkoal's eruptions with the berry, so eruption will never do half, it will always do a little bit under half, and the leftover was put in physical defense. So the team has 2 different modes that it plays. The fast offensive mode with Accelgor plus Charizard or Tapu Lele, and the slow mode with Mimikyu and Snorlax. The main idea between the Accelgor mode is to get big knockouts and put yourself in favorable positions where you're getting those big KOs or you're trading for a 2v1 situation. The idea of the Mimikyu Snorlax mode is how the mode works is either you're going to set up Snorlax and put it in a position where it can win the game by protecting it, or you can use the Mimikyu Snorlax mode as a way to weaken the opponent's team in order to set up for a late game sweep with Charizard, Landorus, or Tapu Lele. The common leads you'll use for this team are Accelgor plus Charizard. This was probably one of the favorite leads of this team because of the fact that with Charizard Y, it's just able to do a lot of damage with Heat Wave, and Accelgor gets to put on a lot of pressure with Acid Spray and Final Gambit and Encore as well. Accelgor Tapu Lele is also another staple lead because of the fact is your Accelgor will be able to get the Unburden boost right away. Accelgor Tapu Lele is very useful in matchups where the opponent cannot change terrain, so you might not be too worried about terrain control, and where you can lead Accelgor Tapu Lele and just throw off some very strong Acid Spray Psychics if the opponent cannot change the terrain. Another common lead is going to be the Mimikyu Snorlax mode. This mode is going to be set up on protecting the Snorlax, and you have multiple options such as setting up the Trick Room with Mimikyu and setting up the Snorlax with Belly Drum right away, or using Z Destiny Bond to redirect the attacks from Snorlax to allow it to get a free Belly Drum up. Another potential lead for this team is Charizard plus Landorus because of the fact that this is just a really strong lead combination where if opponents don't have great resist to Heat Wave plus Earthquake, this lead can instantly sweep through teams. Finally, the last lead, which is a bit obscure but definitely can work, is Accelgor plus Mimikyu, where you use Accelgor in order to get a fast Final Gambit off, which allows Mimikyu to get a Trick Room up in order to set up the Snorlax in the back. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of this team? The strengths of this team is that it can put on a lot of pressure if you do lead right, and it has multiple different modes. Some of the strong matchups include Como teams, Golf Mall Rain teams, Standard Metagross teams, and Mega Gengar's teams that do not like Charizard Y. The weaknesses of this team is that it does not appreciate switching because of the fact that most of these Pokemon are frail. So if you do lead wrong, you could be heavily punished because of the fact it might be hard to readjust your board position. As well as the fact is if you're not taking knockouts quickly or putting yourself in a great position and are just getting a big amount of damage off, but you're getting O-code back by opponents, or if they get a Trick Room mode up and you're not having Snorlax on the field, it can definitely be a really troublesome time. The negative matchups that this team can struggle against are Tyrannitars, well-played Incineroars, and opposing Charizard Ys. So what are the changes to the team I would make after using it? I would probably change the Accelgor speed stat, where I would change it up to have less defense and more speed, up to 244 speed, or I might even make it 252 speed in order to outspeed Adamant Scarf Landorus. The Tapu Lele I would change in order to outspeed Adamant Landorus, so I can at least outspeed Adamant Landorus and see if they're Jolly Scarf or if they're Adamant Scarf. And I would also change Shadow Ball on Tapu Lele. Shadow Ball really didn't come into play as much as I would have liked. I think moves such as Focus Blast, can help for the Tyranitar matchup if it's hard to switch in, as well as Acid Spray and Focus Blast if I'm in a really risky situation can knock out Incineroar, which is very useful indeed, or another move such as Thunderbolt or Nature's Madness. Another option I would consider on Charizard is maybe changing Solar Beam to Tailwind. While being able to knock out Feeny and Gastrodon was useful, I didn't really play too much Feeny and Gastrodon, and the fact is if this team can get up Tailwind, it might be really strong to match opposing Tailwind, which could be annoying as well. So Solar Beam can be kept. On Landorus Fairy, I would consider changing U-Turn into a different move such as Superpower in order to hit Tyranitar, or potentially Swords Dance, which could pressure on. Fun facts, another player by George Tifferman ended up bringing my team to Mass in Regionals right after Roanoke and ended up getting top 4 with the Swords Dance Landorus instead of the U-Turn. So that's an option definitely worth considering. And that concludes the team analysis for my Accelgor team that I used to get top 4 at the Roanoke Regional Championship. Overall, it was a fun team to use, and even though it doesn't really fit my playstyle, it was just something that was a fun idea and I had a blast trying out. If you want to use it, there will be a QR code link in the description, as well as the paste bin if you do want to go try it on Showdown. Another thing that I'll link down below are my tournament matches that I used this team at Roanoke Regionals. There are 3 rounds that I did play on stream, so you can go watch that, as well as the VGC 2018 back-to-back battles videos that I have uploaded, and you can see me use the team live. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch you around in another video.